Okay. Now I hate that I keep saying okay every time I start this. Let me just look something up that's going to be relevant to this. Okay. Whilst I somewhat admire the so-called happiest man in the world, I don't think I would be happy. I'm referring to Mathieu Ricard. Whilst I somewhat admire the so-called happiest man in the world, I don't think I would be happy with the way in which I got happy, as paradoxical as that seems, if I were to follow in his footsteps. I think we need certain things to feel the happiness I desire, and I shall attempt to outline some components. I think number one would be a vocation that you consider meaningful, and again, meaningful is a vague word. So to extrapolate, I mean something that you believe to be furthering whatever cause you consider most important for the future. I also believe we need at least one, but probably multiple hobbies and activities, but ones which we know to be unconnected from this vocational goal, and ultimately selfish and self-indulgent. Of course, some will seem more selfish than others. I believe the likeliest one I would undertake would be video games, but someone else may derive the same pleasure from helping the homeless or something supposedly charitable. Of course, I argue that ultimately they are only doing it to make themselves feel a certain way, which is selfishness in disguise. These activities are a kind of cause for the present. Perhaps we need to embrace both present and future, contrary to what our mindful friends will try to convince us. Given my assertions that ultimately subjective experience is everything, and that in the simulated reality thought experiment, one would be an idiot not to take the option of an objectively happier reality, even if it means it is not real, so long as you weren't aware that it isn't real, at least no more than you might question whether your current existence is the real one. Given these assertions, one might question why I wouldn't seek to follow the path of the world's so-called happiest man. Well, the case is different. Well, if you know, just to give an outline, he's basically a Buddhist, and he's done the old meditation thing until you're able to appreciate everything makes you feel happy, so it doesn't matter what situation is. Anyway, and again, I respect it, and I just don't think it's worth the effort for me. And I'd also that notion there'd still be, well, I guess there wouldn't be, but for too long there would be a notion in my head that I'd want to achieve something that seems more tangible. Well, the case is different because it is impossible to deny that to reach that point would take time. It differs from the thought experiment in that it is not immediate, and I would have the equivalent issue of knowing it wasn't real, because I'd always have the feeling of not believing I was doing anything important for the future. Again, this seems to contradict my statement that subjective experience is the only thing that matters. But until I'm able to actually feel that, I don't want to do something that matters for the future. I cannot act. But until I'm able to actually feel that I don't want to do something that matters for the future, I cannot act as though I feel that I don't want to do something that matters for the future. And this is especially unfortunate for me because I view things which are traditionally viewed as the most meaningful endeavours for intelligent people, such as being a doctor or professor, as some of the most meaningless and biggest wastes of intelligence. Not that I think myself intelligent enough to be a doctor, although obviously I do, because I'm a narcissistic twat, and therefore believe that the biggest and perhaps only obstacle is the fact that I wouldn't care enough to try. But I see these things almost as a form of a maintenance job for society, something which I find more boring than anything else. I think doctors basically just kind of janitors for humans. Obviously janitors are janitors for humans, but you get what I mean. Janitors maintaining the existence of humanity. I'm starting to realise that I'm just not that smart. I'm worthless. Why can't I be better? Why can't I be good with people? But in the kind of way that I'm not fucking Tesla. And I've always known this, obviously, and I've admitted it. But it's just the more you think about it, the more you realise not only are you not, you also could not be. So there you go. I'm also not even someone like Sam Harris. But he's alright. He's a nice guy. I hate the generic idea of success, perhaps mostly because I don't respect most people who are perceived as being successful. And so if they are the ones who are successful, why would I want to be successful if it means being like them? Okay, that sentence could have been structured a little better. I guess then that the way in which you become successful is just as important, if not more so, than the success itself. If you get the quote-unquote success, but by means you don't respect, the success is null. Obviously, the means come first, so get those right above all else. I'm not really sure what I was going to... I just don't like the Tim Ferriss guy a whole lot, I think, is what sparked that one. And I think most people would consider him successful in pretty much every way, but yeah, I just don't. Different forms of media and information absorption are understood, translated and perceived in different ways by the brain. An audiobook will have an entirely different impact on a person and will be understood to mean different things than if that same person had instead read that book. I don't really know other than that. It's quite a scientific assertion, but I've conducted no scientific experiments. But I just think it's just don't take that on par with other things. So take each thing that's said on its own merits, and that one has very few. Philosophy is the bridge between art and science, and so too are philosophers the bridge between artists and scientists. Yeah, there you go. Do with that what you will. But I think that in one of Sam Harris's speeches at one point, I think it was one about death or something, I remember him saying, if you strip away all the something, basically religious crap about the afterlife and stuff, I think, then all you're left with is philosophy, art and science. And I think it's kind of on something there. Although, there's probably other things. But, well, I think what he's implying is that they're the human endeavours that remain. Again, on suicide being selfish. Selfish for whom? The person who has committed suicide? The only one who isn't a self? If it is selfish, it's the most short-lived selfishness. Okay, let's just start again. The person who has committed suicide? The only one who isn't a self? If it is selfish, it's the most short-lived selfishness imaginable. The instant the act is The instant the act is perpetrated, the selfish individual ceases to exist. This is very rhymey almost. In many ways, it's the most selfless act possible. It's the only act that promises to result in the least experience of any sort for the self. There you go. Why don't you think about that little one there?